This isn't just drama for views, it's a story to learn from. Don't repeat their mistakes. Watch, reflect, grow.
The wine glass was still half full when she picked up her bag and slid her sunglasses onto her head like it was just another Friday. Outside, her friend honked twice. She called over her shoulder, "Don't wait up, babe. I might stay an extra day if we hit the wineries." Then she laughed like nothing in the world had weight, like I was part of the furniture. I stood in the kitchen with one hand around a chipped coffee mug, steam rising into my face. She didn't even kiss my cheek. Just checked her lipstick in the hallway mirror, flipped her hair, and strutted out like she was 25 again. The door slammed. That's when my phone buzzed. One message, no emoji, no warmth. Turning off my phone for girls' weekend. Don't bug me. I didn't answer. I didn't breathe for a second. The same message she used 3 months ago, before the ski trip. Same tone, same detachment. Back then, I let it go. This time, I'd already seen the reservation confirmation forwarded to her inbox from our joint email. She forgot to delete it. 2 rooms, booked under the name of someone I'd seen before. Tyler, the one from her office party, the one whose hand hovered a second too long on her lower back in the photos. And the emergency contact number on the booking? Not mine. If any of this feels familiar, if your gut has ever been right while your brain made excuses, hit like and subscribe. Most people just listen in silence, but that one click tells the team these stories matter. She thought turning off her phone gave her freedom, that she was stepping out into a weekend of lies wrapped in spa towels and half-truths. What she didn't know was that her freedom came at a price I'd already calculated, because this wasn't impulse, this wasn't heat-of-the-moment rage, this had a paper trail, this had timestamps, and it had a finish line. She believed she was being clever, disappearing, out of reach. But I'd stopped trying to reach her months ago. I opened my laptop. The screen blinked to life with a quiet hum, our shared desktop still set to a smiling photo from last spring, the one where we looked like a team. I dragged it to the trash, emptied the bin, then opened the folder labeled Plan C. She thought she was leaving. She had no idea I'd already packed her out. I didn't type anything back to her, didn't ask where they were headed, didn't send a heart emoji, didn't double check that she packed her allergy meds like I usually did. I just stood there, coffee cooling in my hand, while the clock above the stove ticked out the silence between us that had been building for over a year. Instead, I walked to the living room, sat down in the old leather chair we bought when we moved in, and opened my laptop. I clicked through 3 folders, each named so innocently no one would guess what they held. Inside the third was a single draft email. Subject line, blank, just 2 words in the body. Reactivating Plan C. I hit send. The response came less than a minute later. Finally. That was Jenna, my attorney, calm, brilliant, and a little too blunt for cocktail parties. She'd helped me build this entire safety net after the second time I found a lipstick receipt that didn't match mine. We'd gone through every what if, every legal option. At the time, it felt like preparing for a hurricane that might never come, but she helped me write the fine print into our documents. She caught the little ways things could be framed, what counted as dissociation of shared interest, how proof of intentional concealment impacted equitable division. Back then, I wasn't sure I'd ever need it. This morning, I was sure. It wasn't the text itself that mattered. It was the casual dismissal. Don't bug me. Like I was the one intruding on her lie, like I was some needy presence, not the person who'd put her name on the insurance forms, the lease, the emergency contacts, and the way she laughed before walking out, like nothing in her life could touch her. That's what settled it. This wasn't just a slip. It was arrogance. I closed the laptop and went back to the kitchen. Drained the cold coffee, rinsed the mug out slowly, the sound of the water running longer than it needed to. There was no sadness, no pit in my stomach, just clarity. The kind of clarity that comes when you finally stop bargaining with someone who already left the room. She'd been waving red flags for months, odd schedules, changing passwords, the new perfume she said was a free sample. I'd seen them. I just hadn't wanted to admit what they meant. But now she waved the last one like a victory banner, and I let her. Because sometimes the best way to end a lie is to let the person feel safe enough to stop hiding it. Jenna's office smelled like bergamot and polished glass, cool, clean, almost surgical. She wore her usual gray blazer, one side of her hair tucked behind a pearl-studded earbud as she scrolled through the digital file I'd uploaded the night before. No pleasantries, just business. Clause 14, she said, tapping the screen. Dishonest intent and concealment of joint property use nullifies shared asset rights. She looked up. We're activating it. I placed the folder on the table between us. Black, smooth, neatly tabbed. No drama, no overkill. Just enough. Inside, page 1. Printed screenshots of booking confirmations from past trips. Always the same name. Tyler. Different cities. Different weekends. Same pattern. Page 2. The auto-forwarding rule she'd quietly installed on our joint email, redirecting any travel-related receipts to her private inbox. She probably thought I'd never noticed the slight delay in flight confirmation alerts. Page 3. Statements from our shared card, showing charges for spa packages, room upgrades, and once, oddly enough, a couple's dinner tasting menu. On weekends, I wasn't even in town. Jenna flipped through them quickly, her nails clicking against the paper like a metronome. Then she stopped and looked at me. This time, the digital trail builds the wall. I didn't smile, just nodded once, because none of this was accidental. She hadn't just stumbled. She'd been leaving footprints in the snow for months, assuming no one was watching close enough to follow, but I had been, quietly, patiently, not to punish her, just to prepare. There's a kind of power in restraint, in not rushing to confront, in letting someone show you exactly who they are, in their own time, on their own terms. She thought she was clever, that moving the emails, using gift cards for ride shares, keeping her phone face down would keep her invisible, but she forgot that I still managed the metadata on our home network, that I still paid the credit card bills, that I'd already started copying her inbox rules to a hidden archive the day she accidentally deleted a hotel receipt. Jenna slid the folder back to me. We'll file the revised terms Monday. Quietly, no early notice. I nodded again. She didn't know I'd created that trail. She thought she was sneaking around a man too passive to care, but I wasn't passive. I was documenting. Saturday afternoon, I sat on the patio with my second cup of coffee, the sun burning low through the slats of the fence. Her friends were quieter than usual on social media, no full group selfies, no manicured brunch photos. But not silent, it started small, a short boomerang of champagne flutes clinking over a rooftop pool, then a slow pan across a set of white lounge chairs. 3 women in matching robes, sunglasses, laughing at something off camera, but it wasn't off camera. He was there. In the far left corner of the frame, just for a moment, Tyler. Shirtless, blurred by the background focus, but unmistakable, same forearm tattoo, same careless posture, like he belonged. They'd posted it like he wasn't a secret. I didn't flinch. Just saved the story before it disappeared, opened a folder titled Supplemental, and dropped it in. I tagged the file, 3:42 p.m., GPS coordinates logged from the metadata. The resort name showed up in the tagged location, one of those wellness hideaways, an hour north. Her phone was off, just like she'd said, but her world wasn't. Her friends, one in particular, Nina, had a habit of tagging brands and places for free perks. She never could resist a discount for exposure. I followed her story next. Found more. A group dinner with candles. A hallway mirror shot with 4 robes and a 5th towel draped over a chair. Tyler again, in a corner reflection. It was almost too easy. Each one I saved like a thread in a tapestry she didn't realize she was weaving. No commentary, no edits, just raw frames. The internet, after all, doesn't forget. And the irony? She really thought. Turning off her phone gave her the upper hand. That silence was power. That vanishing from my screen meant she was free from consequence. She'd forgotten something fundamental. Absence doesn't erase presence. Every smiling post her friends made, every casual tag, every trace of him in the background, they were building my case for me. While she pretended to disappear, I was documenting her performance. She was off grid, but I had the map. It was barely 9 a.m. when my phone buzzed. Unknown number, local area code. I picked up, expecting spam or a wrong number. Instead, it was Marcus, the manager for our building downtown. Hey, bit of a weird situation, he said. Someone came by the leasing office this morning asking about transfer options. She said she's your wife. Wanted to know if her name could be added to the lease or if she could take over the unit herself. I could hear the discomfort in his voice. He wasn't sure if he was getting in the middle of something. He was. She give a name? I asked, though I already knew. Yeah, Elise. Said she's listed as co-resident, but she's not. No, I said, leaning back in the chair. She's just exploring her options. Let her. He hesitated. Should I do anything? Just note the time. I'll handle the rest. As soon as I hung up, I called Jenna. She's starting to maneuver, I said. Let's initiate the asset unbinding and transfer the downtown unit. There was a pause, then, already in motion, docs will be filed by Monday. She won't have access by end of business. She didn't ask for permission. She didn't need to. That's why I hired her. The downtown condo had always been held in a separate LLC, an idea Jenna brought up after Elise started staying late at happy hours a little too often. Back then, I'd argued it felt cold. Jenna said it felt smart. We drew up the structure, assigned me sole membership, made sure every bill route through the LLC account. On paper, she had no ownership, no rights to reside. She had furniture there, clothes, memories, but legally, nothing. And I knew she never read the details. She signed what I told her to, trusting the shorthand version I gave her, just like she'd trusted that I wasn't watching her slip away. Now she was trying to backpedal, test the waters. She probably figured if she could secure that apartment, she could frame the split as mutual, something casual, a fresh start. She had no idea the locks were already scheduled to change. That weekend, while she smiled for brunch selfies and sipped mimosas beside Tyler, Jenna and I finalized everything. Title transfer, residency revocation, notification to the HOA. Elise thought she was making moves, but I'd already finished the game. By noon Saturday, the decision was fully operational. No more drafts, no more waiting. I opened my laptop and began the sweep. First, passwords, bank accounts, utilities, cloud storage, subscriptions. Every shared access point she once had was scrubbed clean. I changed them all, each with randomized sequences, two-factor codes rerouted to my new number. I even replaced the recovery email just in case she tried to be clever. Second, financial rerouting. The joint card got frozen. I let the bank know of suspected misuse, and they confirmed 3 flagged charges from the hotel she hadn't told me about. I smiled, asked them to issue a replacement, solo, in my name only. Third, bills and mail. I filed a formal change of address for everything tied to my name. The new address, a quiet P.O. box 2 towns away. Digital mailbox, locked, encrypted. She wouldn't even know it existed. Then came the harder part, sorting through her things. I went room by room, methodical, efficient, no drama, no second guessing. I didn't stop to smell the perfume on her scarves or linger over the photos still on the fridge. I just packed 3 suitcases, 2 wardrobe boxes, a trunk of shoes she always swore she never bought. I left the wedding album, not out of sentiment, just because it wasn't hers to take. Then I booked the movers, storage unit, climate controlled, 3 towns over, paid up for 6 months. After that, they'd send her the bill, not me. On Monday morning, I drove to the unit before sunrise. Cold concrete, flickering fluorescent lights, silence thick like fog. I placed a small envelope on top of the wardrobe box. Inside, no money, no apology, just a note on cream paper typed, no keys, no codes, just closure, no return address, no signature. When I locked the unit and handed the key to the front desk under her name, it felt surgical, not vengeful, just finished. This wasn't rage, this was reset. She thought silence gave her control, but in the quiet, I rewired the entire system. By the time her phone turned back on, her access to my world was already gone. She pulled up just after 6, same smug confidence she always wore when she'd gotten away with something, hair curled, sunglasses still perched on her head, wheeling that same navy suitcase up the path like she was returning from a corporate retreat instead of a weekend lie. The first moment it hit her was the key. She slid it in, turned, nothing, no give, no click. She tried again, slower this time, looked around like maybe something was wrong with the door, not the lock. Then she pulled out her phone, tapped in the digital code. The keypad blinked red. She stared at it, then at the door, knocked once, then harder. I didn't answer. She rang the bell. I didn't move. When she turned to check the mailbox, expecting the usual stack of credit card offers and beauty boxes she forgot to cancel, she found it sealed shut with a temporary hold slip. Her name wasn't on it. And then she saw the envelope. Taped just below the peephole, plain white, her name typed in bold black font. No greeting, no welcome home, no explanation. She peeled it off with both hands, eyes scanning the street like maybe someone was watching. She opened it right there on the porch. Inside, 2 sheets of paper. The first, a lease nullification notice, official, stamped, dated 3 days ago. The second, a transfer of ownership document, the downtown condo, reassigned, not to her, and in between the 2 pages, stuck like an afterthought, was a small, yellow sticky note. 4 words. You said not to bug you. I listened. That was the moment her smile cracked. She stood there, frozen, hand tightening around the handle of her suitcase like it could anchor her, like the door might suddenly change its mind and let her in, but it didn't. The locks were different. The silence was intentional. And for the first time in a very long time, Elise realized she wasn't coming home to a man waiting to forgive her. She was standing outside a life that had already moved on without her. The call came just after 9 p.m., a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail, but instinct said otherwise. Hello? A shaky breath, then her voice, tight, strained. It's me. I'm using Tessa's phone. Mine's dead, or locked, or something. Did you change everything? That was our place. You can't just... I ended the call. Didn't say a word. I opened my files instead. Scrolled past the photo logs, the travel records, the screenshots, found the PDF Jenna had sent just before close of business. Labeled Asset Reallocation. Final. I texted it to the number she called from. No greeting, no explanation. Just one attachment. Inside that folder, a full inventory of jointly acquired property, every item assigned to either by documented purchase or gift designation. The LLC filing with her signature from 2 years back, the day we refinanced and she didn't read the fine print. An affidavit from Jenna affirming non-residency due to intentional concealment of outside relationships. And most damning, her own irrevocable consent form, initialed and dated, allowing for exclusive control of property decisions in the event of material deception. A clause she'd laughed off when she signed. That sounds so dramatic, she'd said at the time, glass of wine in hand. I'm not plotting an exit. She'd already been halfway out the door. The message app showed she'd opened the file. 3 dots appeared, typing, then they vanished. I waited. Nothing. I sent one more text, 5 words. You left. I just agreed with you. There was no reply. Not that night. Not the next morning. She had spun the story in her head for so long of being the one with the power, the choice, the upper hand. But stories unravel fast when held up against a signed document. The same hand that packed her suitcase had signed her exit. Jenna called me just after lunch. She came in, no appointment, said she wanted to explain everything, asked if you were here. I didn't ask what she said. I already knew the rhythm, confusion, outrage, then performance. Elise was good at rewriting scenes with herself in the center. She demanded to see the paperwork, Jenna continued, so I handed it to her. The formal closure packet sat in a branded folder, neatly tabbed, annotated, final. The expression Jenna described wasn't rage, it was slow realization. She flipped through it fast at first like she was looking for a loophole, Jenna said. Then she slowed down. The moment of recognition hit around page 3. She recognized her own initials, dates, those little signature flags she never questioned, a refinance form from last year with a clause about asset partition rights attached to the LLC structure we put in place. She'd signed herself out without realizing it. She asked if there was room to negotiate, Jenna said. I told her the truth. Jenna had a gift for calm cruelty, no raised voice, no dramatics, just facts. No negotiation, she said to Elise. Everything is filed. Everything is enforceable. But this wasn't how it was supposed to go, Elise had whispered. It went exactly how it was written. No access? Jenna leaned back in her chair, folded her hands. No access. No apology? Not required. Jenna said she stood there for a while, holding the folder like it might change in her hands if she just stared hard enough. But it didn't. It was still final. She didn't slam the door when she left. That wasn't her style. Elise always preferred quieter exits, ones that left the door cracked, the light still on. But this time, there was no crack, no hinge, no door, just ink she forgot she spilled. The sun was low when I drove past the old building. I didn't slow down, didn't stop. Just glanced sideways at the familiar brick, the second-floor windows she used to water plants in, the ones she once called our little city view. There was a moving truck double parked out front. A young couple was maneuvering a gray sectional through the front door, he grinning, she laughing at his struggle with the frame. Someone had already repainted the door a deep navy, fresh numbers installed above the knocker. The mailbox carried a new name in neat block letters. Hers was gone. I didn't feel satisfaction, just air. I parked a few blocks down to grab coffee, and by the time I got back to my car, my phone buzzed. 3 new emails. The first, confirmation from the storage company. The final invoice had been paid. Autopay disconnected. No further obligations under my name. The second, key return confirmation from the downtown unit. The fob, parking pass, and spare were all dropped in their lockbox. Someone else was holding the keys now. The third, no subject, no text, just an email from her old address. I tapped it once, empty, then hit archive, didn't open it again. Then I opened the cloud drive, the last remaining shared folder, receipts, documents, photos, itineraries, that playlist she made during our 3rd year together. I didn't linger. I clicked delete. Confirm? Yes. The screen blinked, the folder disappeared. There were no fireworks, no internal monologue, just silence, but a different kind than before. This one didn't ache, it breathed. The locks, the codes, the folders, the documents, they weren't revenge, they were release, and for the first time in years, there was nothing left to explain.